Good morning, everyone. It is a rainy Thursday morning where I am, and you will be getting this video on Saturday. And we are playing Guess the Banzuke once again. And this time around, it should be slightly easier on us, considering how many guys at the very top aren't going to be moving around. Like you can see, the only real jump is going to be Takakesho moving up to Ozeki 1 East, and Kirishima falling to Ozeki 1 West because Takakesho had the better winning record. And everyone in Sekiwake is going to be where they're exactly sitting. So there's the top guys right there. And it only really starts, coming to be when we look at all of the losers and winners that are going to be moving up and down for the rest of the Banzuke. So let me just take a quick look over here and start labeling all of our losers. A lot of them too, 7 and 8, that they're not going to really fall that far with an 8 and 7, that kind of thing. 15, really unfortunate right there. 6 and 9, 2 and 13 for Tamawashi, didn't really turn it around. But all these guys we will label in red for being losers. Then everyone in green will be winners. And I think I already see something that a lot of people are probably not going to like. That being Asanoyama not getting up to Komusubi because Abi blocks his way. And if we do want to take a look at these winners first and try to start slotting them in, Hokuto Fuji, obviously going to be the next Komusubi. Nishikigi and Tobizaru both fall. Abi, next in line for that. Asanoyama to Maegashira 1. And then, truthfully, Meisei with a 7 and 8 can probably stay where he is. As far as everyone up here that are winners, like Shodai could realistically move up to, Maegashira 2, with Uda moving up right next to him. If anything, Nishikigi and Tobizaru would probably be the ones to fall to Maegashira 3, something like this. Or maybe even they're not as kind to Uda, but we'll get there when we'll get there when we get there. Thank you. Tamawashi is going to fall a bunch of ranks, probably all the way down here. Takanosho is going to fall a couple of ranks, not that far. And then after that, we have Maegashira 5 and down. Let me just start at the bottom as well. Juryo demotions. We are going to have a bunch of Juryo demotions. Dai Shoho, Kageyaki, Chiyo Shoma. Honestly, Haku Oho might be saved by the fact that there might be someone that can't come up and take that spot. But it does look like, Roga, Tomokaze. They might even give it to Kitano Waka at 8 and 7. I don't know, but these two guys so far are going to be the Juryo promotions. Don't know who else is going to be there just yet, but let's see. We have Gonoyama could easily move up to Maegashira 4. Onosho also maybe up to Maegashira 4. Maybe Takanosho only falls half of a rank, maybe not a full rank. You never know. Actually, I think Takanosho might fall a little bit further, while we have Takayasu move up right there. And even though he did have a 10 and 5 from Maegashira 7, I don't see him leapfrogging the 9 and 6s that are ahead of him. And even then, Shonnan no Umi with a 7 and 8 could easily see him falling that half of a rank. I don't think he's going to stay at Maegashira 5 unless they want to over-demote Takanosho, put him at Maegashira 6. And I think this is the most likely situation for, everyone up here. Ryuden, gonna fall some ranks, probably like Maegashira 8. Oho, gonna fall some ranks, probably Maegashira 11. Goto Eiko, gonna fall some ranks. Hirado Umi, gonna fall some ranks. And then we have Midori Fuji from Maegashira 9. Could easily slot in at this Maegashira 6 slot. Keen Bozan and Endo, both with 9 and 6s, could go right below them. Like, it looks like it's working out pretty well. Might even argue Hokuseiho could occupy Maegashira 8 and Ryuden falls another half of a rank, but I don't think they would be that harsh on him. We'll see, though. Takeda Fuji at Maegashira 12. Honestly, might just stay at Maegashira 12. Sarana Umi needs to move up a rank. Myogiryu also needs to move up, and this is where we start seeing a little bit of that traffic jam. Wow, Aoyama might actually be saved by how many other guys are going to be falling. Because we have Nishiki Fuji and Aoyama at 5 and 10, but honestly, we might see them at like Maegashira 17 and 16. Gotta remember that's Maegashira 17. West is not going to be a thing as well. Let's see. I already pushed up Myogiryu, Nishiki Fuji, Aoyama, Koto Shoho might be another demotion. Like, honestly, who knows? Atami Fuji. Again, this is where the traffic jam might start. Atami Fuji somewhere up here, maybe in this area. I want to put him like next to everyone else over here, and we'll see if we can't like stretch the accordion in this top section a little bit more. But after Atami Fuji, Chiyoshoma, we already have him falling, Kageaki falling, Tsurugisho is Tsurugisho definitely moving up at a really hot start at that tournament, but who knows actually how high up he will go. And it looks like the most difficult part is going to be trying to sequence out, how far will Kotoeko and Hirado Umi and Tamawashi and Oho fall to make room for Myogiryu, Hokuseiho, and Atami Fuji. And in that, will Atami Fuji leapfrog Myogiryu? I don't think so, not really. So wherever we put Myogiryu, Atami Fuji has to be right below. Where does Hokuseiho go? He has to be above Myogiryu. So Hokuseiho probably slots in here at Maegashira 9. Myogiryu right next to him because, they're a little bit separated. And then probably scooch everyone here down. Maybe Takeda Fuji does lose a rank. Scooch Atami Fuji over here at Maegashira 10. And then Sarana Umi from Maegashira 12 could realistically move up over here. Kotoeko. Now, this is where I think it's a bit of an over demotion. A 6 and 9 for Hirado Umi and Kotoeko from Maegashira 8. We can check the Banzuke query on that and actually take a look. So, where were they? Maegashira 8, 6 and 9. And thank you for the tea. I've been having the sniffles. It's been rainy. This is nice to have. So, all right. Generally, they will fall around Maegashira 10 or 11. It seems to be the majority of where they will fall is Maegashira 10, 11, 12. So, that's not too far out of the realm of possibility if that's the case. And then we, of course, have Oho, who needs to slot in here. 5 and 10 from Maegashira 7. Let's just double check that over here from Maegashira 7 of 5 and 10. And again, we can check like the median, the mean. It looks like Maegashira 12, Maegashira 13. Looks like Maegashira 12 is not going to be, again, that far away from where we might actually see him. And then we have Tamawashi. That's a big question mark. Tamawashi 2 and 13. Let's see. From Maegashira 3, a 2 and 13 record. I don't remember the last time I saw a record like this. But Maegashira 9 is the upper limit. Maegashira 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 for Jingaku all the way back in 1991. So not too much there, but Maegashira 12 looks like the appropriate slot. So, just from kind of throwing around these people what seemed to be in the most appropriate way, it feels like that's what it's going to end up being. Like this Banzuke might work itself out as well as it has for me, just listing it out like this. Hold on. Ooh, that's hot, but it's tasty. The biggest question, I guess, is will we see Aoyama and Nishiki Fuji fall as well with their 5 and 10s? And if Aoyama survives, Koto Shoho has to fall. But if Koto Shoho doesn't fall and somehow gets saved, like copy or cut paste, like we might see the bottom of the Banzuke look like this. But Aoyama falling 2 ranks after a 5 and 10 just does not seem likely. Like, who do we have here that could take those places? Tohakuryu, Ichi Yamamoto, probably. Maybe Kitano Waka. Like, it's a stretch to see an 8 and 7 from Juryo 2 make it up there, but we can check. Let's see. Juryo 2, 8 and 7. How many times do they make it to the top division? Let's see. Maegashira 12. Wow, that's pretty high. Maegashira 16, 17, Maegashira 22 from back in the 50s. And then a majority of the time they will simply go to Maegashira or to Juryo 1. Imagine being Kitano Kuni and falling a rank after having a winning record. That's crazy. But, I mean, Kitano Waka could possibly make it, and even then, we could kick Koto Shoho and the rest of these guys down to make room for Ichi Yamamoto, maybe even Churano Umi. I think the biggest question mark is going to be how many Juryo promotions do we have? Is it 4? Is it 5? Is it 7? Like, I honestly don't know, and I wasn't thinking about that. Let me see if anyone else has played their Guess the Banzukes just yet, and I see Roga, Ichi Yamamoto, Tohakuryu, Churano Umi. So it looks like 4 maybe. And then Nishiki Fuji, Aoyama stay on. Daishoho, Kageaki, Chiyoshima, Haku Oho kind of have to fall. This is it's a little tricky. And yeah, like I said, this is going to be the biggest question. This is what someone else has done. His name is Gare in the LeoDSumo Discord. This is from Malachite Kingfisher with, again, Roga, Churano Umi, Tohakuryu, Tomokaze, Ichi Yamamoto. So 5 people coming up there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's Tomokaze. 5 people coming up for him, too. That seems to be the most likely, but I do want to kind of revisit the top over here. I want to see, I am a homer for Tobizaru. 6 and 9 for Tobizaru from Komusubi. Would he actually fall to Maegashira 3? And, I mean, yeah, probably, especially when there are so many other winners that need to move up. Meisei could realistically fall to make room for someone else, but I think Shodai, Uda, like I did earlier, it just seems to be the most appropriate thing to put it in this way. Uda, maybe Uda doesn't leapfrog Tobizaru. Let me put like a question mark there. Uda v Tobizaru coin flip. Like, maybe it's Tobizaru up here at Maegashira 2, whereas Uda is at Maegashira 3 off of the back of his 9 and 6, which, I mean, it seems as likely as anything else. You can see Maegashira 2, Maegashira 3. Not as much Maegashira 3 as much Maegashira 2 or 1 when it comes to a Komusubi falling. But if you want to go back to, Uda, Maegashira 4 with a 9 and 6, how often do they not make it to Maegashira 2 and above? And let's see, Sekiwake, Komusubi, Maegashira 1. Only Maegashira 3 twice. So maybe Tobizaru does fall here. I'm leaning towards Obizaru occupying Maegashira 2, but that was a question we did need to ask and get a little clearer on the answer for. I feel super stuffy. I can feel myself speaking weirdly differently. But let's see. Those are the only 2 other Guess the Banzukes we have. And let's see. This one has Uda going up to Maegashira 1. Interesting. They don't have Meisei staying there. And that would be appropriate to have Meisei fall a rank. You know, I'm not opposed to that. I could be. Actually, yeah, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I sometimes am too kind to the guys there. Let's see. Shodai was. If we want to do it something like this, where Shodai is Maegashira 1 off of the back of his 8 and 7, Uda slots in right underneath, because Uda was a rank and a half underneath Shodai. I don't think he's going to leapfrog Shodai. I don't think that's as likely as these other two guessers are maybe thinking. And then Tobizaru to Maegashira 3 East. Yeah, that's where I have him. Nishikigi, I have him only falling to Maegashira 3 East, but he could fall a lot further. I have been noticing, though, that, usually in my previous Banzuke, I've been overestimating how far people will fall. Let's see, like Komusubi 5 and 10. Generally Maegashira 2 and 3. A lot of Maegashira 3s and 4s. Maegashira 3 seems to be the median. Like either Maegashira 3 or 4. So realistically, Nishikigi, I don't see him falling to Maegashira 5. I don't see him falling to Maegashira 5. I think the most likely thing is that he falls to either Maegashira 3 or 4. And from there, I guess the question is, who do we give the nod to? Gonoyama? Onosho? Do we put both of them above Nishikigi? Nishikigi above or below Gonoyama? Question mark. And then before I do anything else, let me demote Koto Shoho and save Aoyama by the skin of his teeth with Nishiki Fuji half of a rank higher like last tournament. And then we could easily slot in a bunch of the guys here. Like we could put Tomokaze up here. We could put Ichi Yamamoto probably right next to him. Roga, Tohakuryu, and then Kitana Waka makes it up there. Because realistically, maybe Churano Umi over Kitana Waka, but even then that's a stretch. Like these guys have let me see. This guy actually does have Churano Umi making it over Kitana Waka. That's crazy. Kitana Waka getting snubbed right there. Let's see. This guy also has Churano Umi making it. I don't think that's possible. I think it's going to be Kitana Waka. Churano Umi 10 and 5 from Juryo 5. I mean, both of them, Kitana Waka 8 and 7 from Juryo 1. Both of them are realistically going to fall at Juryo 1. And I mean, if we want to get even more aggressive, we can demote Aoyama as well and push up Churano Umi to something like Nishiki Fuji has to go at the bottom. And then Churano Umi coming up to like Maegashira 16 or something like that. I think that's the biggest question mark, is who actually occupies this bottom slot. Do we see 6 people come up? Do we see 5 people come up? Do we see 4 people come up? Because like a 5 and 10 from Maegashira 14 is pretty damning. Let me just Maegashira 14, 5 and 10. So many 5 and 10s this tournament. Like, I don't realistically see Aoyama surviving. Maybe he does because he's, a fan favorite, a foreigner, a long-time veteran. Maybe they give him the nod like that. Last time it did happen was Nishikigi back in 2018 and Ichi Yamamoto back in 2022. So, I mean, it's likely not gonna happen because they could go as far as Juryo 7. And you can see this has only happened 57 times in the modern era. So, like, most of the time, 5 and 10 from Maegashira 14 will make them fall. 5 and 10 from Maegashira 13, maybe a little less likely, but even then, like, let's see, 15, 16, 17, Maegashira 20 back in the 50s, Juryo 1, Juryo 1. Like, it could realistically be all 6 of them or 7 of them fall off. And I think then the question is, how generous do they want to be to these guys in Juryo? Like, do they want to give Kitano Waka and Churano Umi the nod there? Because who else is going to occupy those top spots? Could be Bushozan, Shimazu Umi, Oshoma, and Shishi at Juryo 1 and 2, or maybe even just like Aoyama and Koto Shoho at Juryo 1. But does Aoyama actually fall off? That's a big question mark kind of question. Does Aoyama fall off for Chura? Like, are we going to see 6 Juryo promotions? Are we going to see, like, that's a tough question. I'm going to come back to that in just a second. I've only been recording this for, 20 minutes, which usually these things take an hour, but this was a lot more efficient. And again, it's because a lot of things fell into place really smoothly. Like, we have everything at the top seems to fit in perfectly. Again, Hokuto Fuji, Abi, occupying Komusubi, Asanoyama, maybe Shodai occupying Maegashira 1, Uda. I think the question here, too, is does Meisei actually fall? Because he could realistically stay at that rank with a 7 and 8. Like, Maegashira 1. Oops. 7 and 8. Sometimes they stay Maegashira 1. Most of the time they fall to Maegashira 2. A large majority of the time they'll fall to Maegashira 2. And then at the other end of the bell curve, a handful of Maegashira 3s and 4s. So, you also have to consider some of these are Maegashira 1 Easts falling to Maegashira 1 West too. So, in like 90% of the cases, they are getting demoted. So, yeah, I think Meisei actually falls here. And with that, Uda does have a clear shot to leapfrog and go up to Maegashira 2 under these Shodai. And then right below them, Tobizaru and Nishikigi slot in perfectly. I think Nishikigi will fall below Tobizaru because of that 5 and 10, just a little bit worse. Gonoyama, Onosho, 9 and 6s, Takayasu below with the 10 and 5. I don't believe Takayasu will leapfrog either of these guys, but you never know. Will to leapfrog Gonoyama? I don't think that's going to happen, but I'll put the question out there anyway. Takanosho falls a rank and a half for his 6 and 9. Fair enough. Shonan no Umi falls a half of a rank for his 7 and 8. Fair enough. And then this group of winners in the middle here, Midori Fuji, Kinbozan, Endo, Mitakeumi, Hokuseiho, all kind of moving up together. Hokuseiho leapfrogging a couple of these guys could happen. And then Ryuden falls 2 ranks, just slots in there perfectly. Maybe Hokuseiho goes up above Ryuden. Ryuden, Maegashira 6 to 8. Let me just take a quick look at that. Maegashira 6, a 6 and 9. And Maegashira 7, Maegashira 8, Maegashira 9, lots of Maegashira 9s, Maegashira 10. So we could even possibly see Hokuseiho up above Ryuden. And I think I want to see that mostly because he got a 10 and 5. Could even leapfrog Mitakeumi here, which I think is a likely scenario. Because he got the 10 and 5 from the same rank, they could put him half of a rank higher. I wouldn't actually know off the top of my head if they would do something like that. But, I mean, Kinbozan and Endo from the rank above moving up together. Midori Fuji obviously staying above these guys. Maybe even Midori Fuji is on this side of Maegashira 6 because of his 10 and 5, and that gives him a small leg up over the Shonan no Umi losing record. Again, that's a coin flip, like Midori Fuji, like just the Maegashira 6 coin flip. Like either of them could realistically occupy that rank. If I want to see what other guys are saying, some people even have Midori Fuji up to Maegashira 5, Hokuseiho up to Maegashira 6, Shonan no Umi to Maegashira 6, Takanosho down to Maegashira 7. So I think that's a little harsh on Takanosho. This guy also has Takanosho down to Maegashira 7, Hokuseiho up above that, way above Endo Mitakeumi. So I don't think Hokuseiho is gonna get that big of a nod. Like even though he has that 10 and 5, I don't think he's gonna leapfrog over Kinbozan and Endo. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think they're gonna keep something like the what they've already had down here. Because, I mean, if they all had 9 and 6s, this would be a very easy question to answer. They just all move up together in this block. But because Hokuseiho does have that 10 and 5, the question is, does Hokuseiho leapfrog Mitakeumi? Does he leapfrog Kinbozan and get above all of these guys? Am I being too kind to Takanosho, and should he fall another rank underneath Midori Fuji? Which, that would be okay, because Midori Fuji had that 10 wins. So I think Midori Fuji could realistically fall here. And then, again, the Maegashira 6 coin flip, does it happen with Takanosho and Shonan no Umi occupying the same spot now? I think they care a little bit less about that. And I think from here, Takanosho would stay Maegashira 6 next to Shonan no Umi. But that is a good question. Does Hokuseiho leapfrog Kinbozan and Endo? And then I am still asking, is Nishikigi going to fall below Gon Oyama, who should have, a better rank there? Maybe Nishikigi falls to Maegashira 4 East. It's, again, another big question mark. Could, Komusubi 2 Maegashira 4s, technically the -5. Usually they are a bit kinder to guys with losing records in the very top, unless it's like out for injury, that kind of thing. So at this point, we're really just like splitting hairs. And if you want to get the maximum amount of points in this Guess the Banzuke, you kind of have to. But generally, this is where people are going to fall. Again, maybe Aoyama doesn't fall off the Banzuke. Maybe he survives by the skin of his teeth. And if he does, then, we just miss out on a couple of points with Nishiki Fuji, Chirano Umi, that kind of thing. Really, the hair splitting is going to come up here, where it really does come down to, does Nishikigi fall a half of a rank? Does Takayasu go over Gon Oyama? But if Nishikigi falls below Gon Oyama, does Takayasu actually leapfrog Onosho? Should he leapfrog Gon Oyama too, or just Onosho? I think it is possible Takayasu does get the nod over Onosho. That person seems to think so, and this person seems to think so too, but they're also demoting Nishikigi to Maegashira 5 and Takanosho to Maegashira 7, which I think that's too harsh of a demotion for Takanosho. Although, again, it is within range. It is mathematically plausible. But I mean, I already have Takanosho underneath them. So I don't know why I'm even mentioning that. So maybe we do see something like Onosho down here, Takayasu over there, Nishikigi over here, and Onosho right underneath him. So maybe we see something like this. Gon Oyama Nishikigi coin flip. Takayasu Onosho coin flip. I think it is more likely that Takayasu does leapfrog Onosho, but I don't think Takayasu will leapfrog Gon Oyama, and I don't think Takayasu will push Nishikigi down even further, because he's already falling, 1, 2, 3, 4 off of that -5, the 5 and 10. So it's, again, really, really splitting hairs up here, but that's what separates high points from low points. As far as the middle of the Banzuke goes, I'm very comfortable with these choices. Like everything below Shonan no Umi, Kinbozan, Endo, Hokuseiho, Mitakeumi all are going to be moving up together. But again, is Hokuseiho going to leapfrog Kinbozan and Endo with his 10 and 5? Let me see. These people seem to think so, and are even pushing down Shonan no Umi and Takanosho further for it. Hokuseiho, Kinbozan, Endo, Atami Fuji. They even have Atami Fuji leapfrogging Mitakeumi, who has an 11 and 4 from 4 ranks lower. I don't think Atami Fuji is going to leapfrog Mitakeumi and thus push down Ryuden Myogiryu. You know, like Ryuden already falling 2.5 ranks where I have him here is very appropriate. Myogiryu moving up 4 ranks off of his 10 and 5, mainly because there is kind of a stopgap here. All of the losers have fallen as low as I think will be realistic. I don't think Shonan no Umi falls lower than Maegashira 6. And, these other guys agree. I don't think Takanosho falls lower than Shonan no Umi. That seems to be where the discrepancy here is. I don't think Takanosho goes below Shonan no Umi. Takanosho had 1 less win from a rank and a half higher, so I think it's most appropriate that Takanosho stays above Shonan no Umi. Then you have Kinbozan, Endo, Hokuseiho, Mitakeumi. Again, they're moving up in a block together. Realistically, Hokuseiho with his 10 and 5 could leapfrog Kinbozan and Endo, but I would not put him any higher than this. I think this is where I would keep them. And then Ryuden falling 2.5 ranks, very appropriate. Myogiryu moving up 4 ranks to kind of fill in this spot. Like maybe they can be a little bit kinder to him and scooch Ryuden over half of a rank. I don't think that's gonna happen. Atami Fuji at Maegashira 10. I might be the hardest one on Atami Fuji. I mean, let me check. Maegashira 15 and 11 and 4 does not happen very often, but when it does, usually they go up to Maegashira 6. That would be the lowest promotion for someone like Atami Fuji. So now the question is, if we did want to push Atami Fuji up, who gets, the stick? And I think, again, if we don't put Myogiryu above Ryuden, then we can realistically put Atami Fuji above, like, 2 Maegashira 9. Myogiryu gets a little hosed here with his 10 and 5 from Maegashira 13, only moving up to Maegashira 10. But again, we can't put Ryuden down to like Maegashira 13, 14 as much as I know some people would like to. It's just really not that feasible. Like Atami Fuji up to Maegashira 8 above Endo. Atami Fuji up to Maegashira 8 below Endo. So if we did want to slot Atami Fuji up here, that means Mitake, like everyone else, gets bumped down a little bit, which, maybe that does happen. Because these guys all getting a +3, Mitakeumi going up only 2 ranks off of a 9 and 6 does seem, does kind of hurt. But when you consider something like that, Atami Fuji leapfrogging all of them, or does he stay below Mitakeumi? Atami Fuji above Kinbo or below Mita? Like, I don't think Atami Fuji is going to be below Mitakeumi. He got 2 more wins from 4 ranks lower, but mathematically he should be above them. Itakayumi only moving up 2 ranks off of his 9 and 6. No, it sucks. Same for Kinbozan. Sucks. But there really is a traffic jam right here in the middle. This log jam right here where realistically, like, this is where it starts with them. Takanosho, Shonan no Umi are kind of the upper limit stopgap. And then the rest of these guys just have to kind of jam the doorway behind them to see who's actually going to be first and second. Sado no Umi has to move up, and I think where he is appropriate. I don't think it's appropriate to move Ryuden down any further than he already has been, which, again, that's going to suck for Myogiryu, only getting a +3 off of a 10 and 5, but again, this is where the big thing happens, the big traffic jam. Like, if Nishikigi had like a 2 and 13 like Tamawashi did to make room, like, okay, cool, yeah, we could just scooch everyone up a half of a rank. That would look a lot better. But the traffic jam starting here in the middle, like, even if we did put Takanosho down to Maegashira 7 like some of these other guys are doing, it's really just Hokuseiho moves up and then everyone else just kind of moves up there too. Like, where does Atami Fuji fall for some of these guys? Maegashira 8 below Kinbozan. Maegashira 8 below Kinbozan and Endo. Whereas I have him above those guys. Where I don't think it makes sense to separate Kinbo, Endo, and Mitakayumi because they all had a 9 and 6 from the same rank. Like, it does make sense that Hokuseiho goes above them, below Midori Fuji, and below Takanosho and Shonan no Umi. But it doesn't make sense that they would get broken up like that. Maybe they do. I don't know. But either way, Atami Fuji, because of this traffic jam here, he's going to get kind of screwed by the Banzuke, probably to his favor. He is very young, and I don't want to see him at Maegashira 5-4-3, where he's going to be fighting against the Ozeki and the Sekiwake, and he's going to get smashed. So it's going to suit him better to fight from these middle ranks. The question is, does it make sense to just jam him in the middle of Kinbozan, Endo, and Mitakayumi? I don't know. Because why give the nod to Kinbozan and Endo to move up, 2.5 ranks and not Mitakayumi? Or why not give all of them the nod to move up 2.5 ranks, but that would screw Atami Fuji? Why not just have all of them go up 2 ranks because they all had 9 and 6s from right next to each other? Have Atami Fuji leapfrog because he did get that 11 and 4, was in the playoffs, so they probably do want to push him up as far as he can go. But it's not like they're going to have him leapfrog over Hokuseiho, who had a 10 and 5 from 4.5 or 4.5 ranks higher. So again, really splitting hairs here, but I think this is the most appropriate. I think this is where it's going to fall. And then Ryuden is not going to fall any more than that. Myogiryu sucks, but he's only going to move up 3 ranks with his 10 and 5. Sado no Umi moves up 2 ranks. Kotoeko falls. Nah, if anything, we could have a Sado no Umi like here. Kotoeko could realistically fall to Maegashira, 11, which, again, I am a sucker for keeping guys together. I know they don't usually do that on the Banzuke, but having Kotoeko and Hirado Umi, they both had the same record. They both fall to the same rank. It just makes sense. Oho leapfrogs below them on the losing record. Makes sense. Tamawashi below them. Makes sense. Takeda Fuji going lower 1 rank. Makes sense. Is he going to go... realistically, Takeda Fuji could even occupy Maegashira 12. Let me see what these other guys say. Nope, these other guys have Takeda Fuji falling. Oho and Tamawashi in the same spots. This guy actually has Sado no Umi not leapfrogging Kotoeko and Hirado Umi. As does this person. But I think they will have Kotoeko and Hirado Umi fall the full 3 ranks. I mean, if we're doing it for Ryuden, might as well do it for Kotoeko and Hira. Sado no Umi with an 8 and 7. I mean, it only, like, he has a winning record there. I don't think, you know, to put him below Ryuden makes sense. Put him above Kotoeko, like, there's a little gap here that, you know, Sado no Umi can nestle himself between, because Oho goes lower. Ryuden, Kotoeko, and Hirado Umi all fall down the same amount of ranks. May as well put Sado no Umi there, because Oho is down here. Tamawashi is even further down. Takarafuji and Tsurugisho kind of slot in up here. I did notice that some of them have Tomokaze up at Maegashira 13, which, I mean, we've seen it a couple tournaments ago where Juryo Yusho, or even just really good records from the top of Juryo, just get screwed by, you know, where do they fall in the Banzuke? I don't know. Let's just put them all at the bottom. Like, you know, so I think overall what I have here is probably the best I'm going to guess without being too much of the same like these other guys have. This guy has Aoyama getting saved. This guy does not, does, except he only falls 2 ranks off of that 5 and 10. I'm going to take the risk, and I'm going to say that Aoyama does fall. I'm going to take that risk. Does he fall off for Chura no Umi or no Kitano Waka? I think it's the most likely thing. Maybe he does survive by the skin of his teeth. That would make the most sense. And then Koto Shoho occupies Juryo 1 East. He would be at Maegashira 17 West if that existed. So maybe we do have something like this where Aoyama does get saved by the skin of his teeth. Chura no Umi is sad boy Juryo 1. But you know, that doesn't show up on the Guess the Banzuke. So like Aoyama falls 1, 2, 3 ranks off of a 5 and 10, but I mean, it does make sense when Roga, Kitano Waka, Tomokaze, Ichi Yamamoto, Tohakuryu, like, we're already getting 5 Juryo promotions. Chiyoshoma definitely falls. Kageaki, Daisho, like, all of these guys are definitely falling. And Haku Oho falling as well. Maybe that is what saves Aoyama. Koto Shoho just in range of that, unfortunately for him. And I think that's mostly because, like, Ichi Yamamoto had that 13 and 2. If it was a 12 and 3, maybe he doesn't get the nod. Tomokaze, really good record. Roga has to move up. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4 guaranteed pushes up. Koto Shoho, maybe even he gets saved by the skin of his teeth. Like, it's very delicate, but like how these guys have Aoyama, Maegashira 17, Aoyama and Maegashira, 14. They have to be at the bottom of the Banzuke. They have to be at the bottom of the Banzuke. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But I know my Banzuke guess is going to look similar to these other guys that, I stole their Banzuke guesses and I'm trying to copy their homework. But even then, I still have a couple of things that I'm not going to move that much more on. I still think Gonoyama and Nishikigi could be a coin flip. I am still questioning if Atami Fuji is going to be above Kinbozan or below Mitakeumi. I don't think Ryuden goes further than this. I don't think they're going to separate Kotoeko and Hirado Umi. I don't really know who's going to be at the bottom of the Banzuke here. But as for the rest of it, I'm pretty confident in it. Like, yeah, as for the rest of it, I'm pretty confident in it. And I think that these will be my final picks. Unless, there is no additional news except maybe a leak that could come out that would change the way I think about it. But yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with these guesses. I am sure a lot of other people will come to similar guesses. Again, my biggest question marks are still Gonoyama, Nishikigi. Atami Fuji above Kinbozan or below Mitakeumi. It's hard to say. Everything else, except for down here, I'm very much sold on. Like, even if I took off this part of the Banzuke over here and just said, like, okay, up to Maegashira 13, I like this. The rest of it, who knows? But then, I mean, the bottom is always a cluster. But that is going to be it from me. I hope you enjoyed seeing my picks for this video. I will not forget to submit them this time like I did last time. And it wasn't to avoid getting a bad score, because I would have gotten a slightly below average score like I usually get. But I know usually I am bad at this game, but hopefully the way I show my process helps influence you guys, helps you guys start playing the game too, to get some guesses in. And, you know, if you have any other comments or suggestions for this Banzuke, thankfully I didn't accidentally forget anyone this time. Be sure to leave it in the comments down below. Tell me what you think of my guesses. Tell me where you think I might be blatantly wrong. Maybe I'm favoring Takanosho too much. Maybe I'm not favoring Hokuseiho enough. Maybe, you know, something along those lines. But thank you very much for watching. We will see you on Wednesday for the top division top 10. And then next Saturday, I will be posting the Takakeisho breakdown video. But I will warn you, October is a very busy month for us, so that is probably the only breakdown video I'm going to do. If you want to see Atami Fuji instead, again, let me know in the comments down below. I'll probably be making that video sometime next week, again, because this is a very busy month for us. And yeah, we'll see you later.